Malik was just 22 years old. He spent most days riding his old scooter through the city, delivering food to people who barely noticed him, but he didn't mind. He had a goal: take care of his sick mother, Mrs. Simmons. Her medical bills were high, and the only way to stay ahead was to work hard. Malik didn't complain. He was quiet, polite, and always showed respect, even when others didn't show it back. Officer Branson had worn his badge for over 20 years. People in the neighborhood knew him, but not always in a good way. He was known for being loud, forceful, and quick to judge. Some said he used his authority too much. Branson believed he could tell when someone didn't belong. That night, he saw Malik and made up his mind without knowing the truth. Carmen lived alone on the second floor of an old brick apartment building. She had sharp eyes and a calm voice. Years ago, she had been a civil rights lawyer. She had seen too much, too many people mistreated, too many wrongs covered up. Now she mostly kept to herself. But something about that night pulled her back in. Lieutenant Perez was in charge at the local police station. He was known for doing things by the book. He didn't like drama, but he didn't ignore the truth, either. When things started to unfold, he was the one who had to decide what came next. And then there was Mrs. Simmons, the heart behind everything Malik did. Though she wasn't seen, her love and her illness were felt in every choice Malik made. She was the reason he kept going, no matter how hard the world tried to stop him. It was a cold Thursday night. Malik was almost done with his last delivery. He had one more order to drop off: a bag of tacos and soda for someone in a big house on Rosewood Lane, a quiet street in a wealthy part of town. He pulled over carefully, parking near the curb. The houses here were huge, the lawns cut perfectly. People didn't expect to see someone like Malik here, especially not this late. As he grabbed the food from his bag, headlights flashed behind him. A police car rolled up slowly and stopped. The door slammed shut. Officer Branson stepped out. "What are you doing here?" he asked, already suspicious. Malik turned calmly. "Just delivering food, sir." Branson didn't believe him. "You sure about that? This isn't your neighborhood." "I have the address right here," Malik said, showing the app on his phone. But Branson didn't even look. He stepped closer. "What's in your pockets?" Branson demanded. Malik froze. "Just my phone and wallet." "Turn around." Malik tried to stay calm, but his heart raced. He wasn't doing anything wrong. Still, he slowly turned, hands raised slightly. Branson grabbed his arm and pushed him against the car. Up above, behind a curtain, Carmen watched everything. At first, she didn't know what was going on, but as she watched longer, she felt something wasn't right. She reached for her phone and started recording. Back on the street, Branson kept pressing. "Why are you really here? Selling something else?" Malik's voice shook. "No, sir. Just food. I promise." But Branson wasn't listening. The food bag dropped to the ground. Carmen kept filming. Everything felt slow, heavy. Malik stood there, not moving, not fighting, just waiting for it to end. But it wouldn't end there. Not this time. The night it happened was just like any other. Cold, quiet, and a little too still. It was around 9:30 p.m. on a Thursday. Most people in the neighborhood were already inside, watching TV or eating dinner. The street was empty, except for Malik, trying to finish his shift, and Officer Branson, who was out on patrol. To Malik, it was just one more delivery before heading home. To Branson, it was another chance to feel in control. And to Carmen, it was a moment she hadn't expected to relive. Something that reminded her of old cases, old wounds. The real change didn't come until the next morning. Carmen uploaded the video just after sunrise, her hands still shaking. By noon, it had been shared hundreds of times. By evening, it had gone viral. People from across the city and even from other states were watching, talking, getting angry. Within 24 hours, the story had grown bigger than any of them expected. A moment that started as another quiet night became the center of a storm, and Malik's life would never be the same. The street where it all happened was called Rosewood Lane. It was one of those clean, quiet streets where every house looked like it came out of a magazine. White fences, big porches, trimmed tree. Most people there didn't know their neighbors and liked it that way. They weren't used to seeing food delivery drivers at night, especially ones like Malik. Malik parked near the sidewalk under a flickering streetlight. The cold air was still. Not a single car passed by. It should have been just another drop-off. Quick, quiet, easy. Carmen's apartment sat across the street, on the second floor of an old brick building. Her place didn't match the rest of the neighborhood. It was smaller, older, but it had one thing the big houses didn't: a clear view of the street. From behind her lace curtains, she saw everything, every light, every movement, and that night, she saw something she couldn't ignore. Later, part of the story would take place in the local police station. It wasn't fancy, just a small building, with gray walls, and too many files. But inside those walls, big decisions would be made. Decisions that could change a man's future. The video Carmen recorded traveled far beyond Rosewood Lane. It hit the screens of cell phones, news stations, and laptops. It played in coffee shops, living rooms, and courtrooms. But the beginning of it all, the moment everything changed, happened on one quiet street most people had never even heard of. A place where someone thought no one was watching, but someone was. Malik never wanted trouble. He just wanted to work, go home, and take care of his mom. Every delivery he made helped pay for her medicine, her checkups, and the rent on their small apartment. He was only 22, but he carried more weight than most people twice his age. His mother, Mrs. Simmons, had been sick for years. He'd dropped out of college to be there for her. He didn't complain, not once. He just kept going. That night, Malik had taken a few extra shifts. The rent was due soon. He was tired, cold, and ready to be done, but he didn't show it. He always kept his head down, always tried to do the right thing. Officer Branson had a different reason for stopping him. Maybe it was Malik's hoodie, maybe it was the scooter, maybe it was just Branson's need to feel in control. He'd been on the force a long time. Some said he had a chip on his shoulder, others said he just liked power. That night, when he saw Malik on Rosewood Lane, he assumed the worst, without even asking for the truth. Carmen had seen this before, too many times. Years ago, she was a civil rights lawyer. She fought for people who didn't have a voice, but after a while, the work wore her down. She stepped away from it all, and moved into that quiet apartment, hoping to leave the fight behind. But when she looked out her window, and saw Malik being pushed, questioned, and humiliated for doing nothing wrong, it came back. The pain, the anger, the need to do something. She didn't want to post the video at first. She knew what could happen, how ugly things could get, but when she saw the fear in Malik's eyes, the way he stayed calm, even as he was treated like a criminal, she knew silence would be just as cruel. The people who watched the video saw what Carmen saw, a young man who showed more strength in his silence than the officer did in his badge. They saw how unfair the world could be, and they were tired of pretending it didn't happen. That's why it all began. Not because Malik shouted, not because he fought back, but because he didn't. Carmen didn't sleep that night. The video sat in her phone like a weight. Her finger hovered over the upload button for hours. She thought about Malik, about his quiet voice, his calm hands, the fear in his eyes. She thought about the officer's face. Cold, forceful, sure he wouldn't be questioned. By sunrise, Carmen made her choice. She didn't add music, no filters, just a simple caption. This young man was delivering food. He was stopped, searched, and humiliated. Watch the truth. She posted it on social media, and closed her laptop. Within hours, everything changed. At first, just a few people watched, then a few more. Then, it exploded. The video was shared across the city, then the country. Hashtags formed. News stations reached out. Strangers were angry, not just for Malik, but for all the others like him. Malik didn't even know it had been posted. He was back on his scooter, working his morning shift. His phone started buzzing non-stop. Friends were texting. A coworker showed him the video. At first, Malik didn't know how to feel. Exposed, nervous, but as the comments poured in, something shifted. People weren't mocking him, They were standing with him. They saw his kindness, his courage, his pain. That same afternoon, the police station held a meeting. Lieutenant Perez had already seen the footage. He wasn't the kind of man to jump to conclusions. But this was clear. He called Officer Branson into his office. The look on his face was heavy, disappointment, mixed with duty. "You're suspended while we investigate," Perez said firmly. "Turn in your badge and gun," Branson argued. Said the video didn't show the full story, but this time, no one believed him. Later that night, Carmen was contacted by a local news outlet. They wanted to know why she spoke out. Her voice was calm during the interview. "Because silence protects the wrong people," she said, "and this young man did nothing wrong." The story aired on television. More people rallied behind Malik. A lawyer offered to represent him for free. A podcast invited him to speak. He didn't say much, but when he did, people listened. "I'm not angry," Malik told the host. "I just want people to see that I'm human too, that I work hard, that I care about my family. I didn't deserve what happened. No one does." The podcast clip went viral too, and then something unexpected happened. A woman from the community, someone Malik had once delivered food to, started a fundraiser. She wrote, "If he's been carrying this weight alone, let's carry some of it for him." Within 3 days, the fundraiser hit $50,000, enough to cover his mom's medical bills. And then some. Malik cried when he saw the final amount, not because of the money, but because people cared. For once the world saw him, not as a threat, not as a mistake, but as a person. Officer Branson never returned to the force. The department quietly released a statement. Words like misconduct and disciplinary action were used, but no apology could undo what happened. Still, something shifted. Carmen kept recording, not everything, not every day, but she stayed ready, because she knew the fight wasn't over. One evening, weeks later, Malik delivered food to her door. They looked at each other, the woman behind the window, and the young man in the video. She smiled gently. "You okay?" Malik nodded. "Getting there." He handed her the bag, turned to leave, then paused. "Thank you," he said. Carmen closed the door slowly, her eyes full. Sometimes justice isn't loud. Sometimes it starts with a camera, a voice, a choice to say, "This isn't right." And sometimes, the quietest people spark the biggest change. If this story moved you, don't scroll away. Like the video to help more people see it. Share your thoughts in the comments. And subscribe for more real stories that deserve to be heard. Your voice matters. Let's make sure the truth is never ignored.